Broadcasting live from the Subaru of Gwinnett studio inside the Gas South Convention Center in Duluth, Georgia, it's time for Gwinnett Business Radio. Gwinnett Business Radio is presented by Regions Bank, Brave the Beginning, member FDIC, and equal housing lender. And hello again, everybody, and welcome to Gwinnett Business Radio. Mike Salmond alongside Harper LaBelle. Steve and Jillian nowhere to be found. We have no idea what has happened to Steve.
Vacation, Christmas holidays, New Year's.
We're not important to him anymore.
Maybe the college football playoff. He's still remorsing that Tech didn't get in. Who knows?
Yeah, it could be lots of reasons.
Or he could be making money.
But he's just... He could be working too, yes.
Yeah.
But you know, it's his loss because we have some wonderful guests here in the studio. Tanya Turner is here. I want to say Tanya Tucker.
Everybody says that.
Yeah, but no, it's Tanya Turner. She's with Salto Systems.
Do people really do that? They slip every now and then?
They do.
Freudian slip and they call you Tanya Tucker.
Yeah, quite often.
And you have to say no.
No. I'm not the singer.
No.
I'm the HR person.
Our other guest is Frederick Taylor. He's here with Tomorrow Pictures, and we look forward to hearing all about that.
But Mike, don't call him Fred.
No,
because he doesn't like being called Fred. Because
Right.
Fred Taylor is a running back in the National Football League, and he's Frederick, not Fred.
Right.
So don't mix that up, Mike, because I just did a few minutes ago.
Yeah, but we won't do that. So we've got Tanya Tucker and Fred Taylor with us.
And we're going to get it right.
Yeah, I'm just joking. Yes, it's Frederick. You thought I was serious.
And they're both rolling their eyes.
We
Going,
know it's
"Goodness
Frederick
gracious.
Taylor, and it's
What
Tanya
did we
Turner.
just get ourselves into?
Okay, so Tanya, you already heard her a little bit with Salto Systems Incorporated, located. Well, their U.S. office is here in Norcross. So Tanya, welcome to the program. We've locked the door. You can't leave. Tell us all about Salto Systems and what you do.
Well, I am the HR director at Salto Systems. I've been there for almost approximately 8 years. It's been an enjoyable ride. We are a global company that is based in Spain. We have 4 domestic offices in our North America business unit, one to include in Montreal or Quebec. We also have a Las Vegas, Nevada office, a New York office, as well as the Atlanta office, which is our headquarters. And when you think about Salto leads the digital transformation of access and identity management through groundbreaking and thoughtful solutions. So super excited to be here today.
Well, glad to have you. Can you unpack that? What does that mean to the layman in layman's term when you talk about the digital solutions?
Yeah, so if you go to your hotel room and you use maybe your phone to get into the actual hotel room, we use that digital access card, whether you're going to a university and you want to get into the actual dorm room. So you can use your actual superpowers, where I have this band on today, or you could use your phone, your key card. So it's really just about controlled access, if that makes sense. So you don't want everyone to go into every different thing, so you may have control access on this particular band in order for you to get the access that you need.
So if I'm a business and I've got a door, every door has a lock, and you unlock the locks. That's the way I looked at it, because when I first went on your website, I go, you're the guys that keeps me from getting into the building, or I have to have a pass. Or now, as you said, you got a wristband. Describe the wristband real quick, just so people know what on earth we're talking about. But it's an actual, it goes around your wrist, and there's I imagine a chip that's in the plastic?
Yeah, of course, it's a chip, and what it does is the access is actually controlled through a system of where I can have access to go and timing of that particular access. So for me, being in HR, I have access to pretty much everything, but if you wanted to control my access, you can deny me to have access at a certain time or in a certain office or in a certain location. So that's where it controls the access for the individual, and they actually control it behind the scenes. So for me, I get to go pretty much everywhere because I'm in human resources, from the marketing closet to different offices.
You have no limits.
Well, of course, every job has a particular limit.
You have less limits.
Yes, less limits because of my role, but it is controlled access nevertheless. If you have individuals that are wanting to come into a particular building, you can control their access in terms of them being there to come in from 8 to 5, right? Or if you want them to be able to go into a particular office or a particular space, you can control that access as well. So it's really amazing and transformative technology.
So whether it be stairwells or floors, first floor, second floor, there are limitations that any business might have. Not all.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
And so you help solve those problems. Are you the database also behind that?
Yeah, the technology and the database behind that. We have all of those things. And so we actually train partners who go on site to various different industries to utilize our services on a regular basis. So it's a wonderful thing. We in-house a lot of the transformative technology in Sebastian, in Spain.
You mentioned the hotel space, for
Yes.
example. That has changed over the years. I've noticed that instead of, well, the key is gone. Now it's a credit card that you get, or something different. Now is there going to be an app on the phone? Right.
Yeah, you can use your phone to gain access. We see that all the time where you can actually use your phone as a key. And you don't even have to necessarily go to the concierge or the front desk to necessarily check in. You get your information through an email, and you can certainly use your app on your phone, like your Justin Mobile, to gain that particular access.
Mike is wearing a, what do you call that, tag?
Like his lanyard has his badge in there.
A badge and or a key fob or something like that. You work with all of those, but where's the technology going? Is it all phone, or at least to be phone-based, or is the wristband that you have, is that the next direction? Or how far behind am I if I'm still looking at that credit card type of key?
Well, we still use the key fob. I have a key fob. I have the credit card. I can still put it in the lanyard, but it's going a little step further than that. Right now, from what I gather, is that we're using it on the phone. I mean, I have this wristband. You can actually program the technology from a multitude of different places. So even from an employee access, they have different ways of what they want to use, because some people can't keep up with this, right? Some people can't keep up with the fob. Some people still want to use the lanyard. So we have multiple ways of how you can get access. And what's cool about it, say for instance, if you've been out of the office for quite some time, you need to go to the access point, re-energize this, because maybe I took a vacation for 7 days. I want to re-energize this so that this can work everywhere that I am able to have access. So it's a really powerful tool.
Tanya Turner is our guest, and she is with Salto Systems. She's the HR director. Got one more question about the technology a little bit before I ask you some questions you'd like us to talk about leadership. We'll get to that in just a second. But what do you say to the person that goes, oh, it's just Big Brother looking down on me, wanting to know where I am at every single time. They're tracking my positioning, tracking where I'm at, tracking where I'm at, when I'm at that place, and so forth. And it's just another way to control people. What do you say to that?
I say that that's not necessarily true. I think it has a lot to do with safety. Safety mainly because with that particular access, I don't necessarily think that it's trying to see where Mike is going all day long. But what it is it's allowing you to be productive. It's allowing you to have the access that you need as a resource. And more importantly, what it does is it protects what's already there. So I don't think it's about Big Brother. It's just the nature of what we do from a business standpoint. And more importantly, you want to have a safe environment. And so you don't want everybody to have access to the human resources department or to files or different things, or being able to piggyback and get into the dorm room where you have this particular access. So I would have to suggest that it is mainly something for protection, safety, and it's just cutting edge technology.
If I had my little bell right now, I'd ring it, because that was a really good answer.
She got it right. Good job. There's the bell. What I would use the word accountability, maybe not so much from a business perspective, but from a school perspective, especially with safety and knowing that all the kids are where they need to be or they're on campus. Now, if I wanted to cut class, like maybe someone might have wanted to do, Mike over there cut classes when he was in high school. He doesn't want to admit that.
But then when he came back from lunch, then his access would be denied, and then you would have to go straight to the principal's office.
Go straight to the principal's office? Or just go straight to detention, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But is that a part of the market that you try to reach out to?
Of course.
Is that a technology that we're going to be seeing more of at schools? Not maybe as many metal detectors, but more, hey, you have access. You can come into the school, because you're a student here, and keep the bad guys out?
Yeah, a lot of our access is in various different industries. It's not just it's residential, it's commercial spaces, it's K through 12, hospitals, healthcare, retail. It's pretty much everywhere. So you're going to see a lot of Salto, in terms of our control access in different parts of the business. Even people do a lot of things of showing like they've gone to hotels and it's like, oh my goodness, Salto is on the doors here. So we are having a lot of access points, and we're probably about 40,000 plus access points, if not more, around the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
What a great company, and I love the technology. But I know you also want to talk a little bit about leadership today. We know our audience, of course, is business entrepreneurs, business owners, business executives, and leadership matters to them. What do you see that matters the most when it comes to leadership?
I think for me, being in the human resources space, is that leadership is so key because being a leader is a privilege. And a lot of people who are in the leadership role, they kind of fell into it because they were good at something particular. They were a subject matter expert. But, being a leader is not for the faint of heart. It's going low so other people can go high. And from an HR standpoint, when we are dealing with leaders or individuals who aspire to be leaders, is that we're teaching them that the best thing that you can do in being a leader is to be your authentic self. One thing that comes or resonates top of mind is owning your mistakes, having strong integrity. If faith is your thing and you are faith-based, is to live that out on purpose, with purpose, for a purpose. And more importantly, we need more kind leaders that understand about empathy and compassion, and people who want to steer and own other individuals' careers, because I see leaders as being like these particular air traffic controllers, where they're hitting the runway and they're showing you this is where you need to port in, this is where you need to go, and this is where you get the resources. Even being here today, this came from a leader who gave information about a certain thing and helping that individual to stir up their gifts and their talents in those particular spaces.
Tanya, is there always a need for more leaders? It seems like that is a never-ending quest to find the people that are in the right place at the right time and can do the right job.
Yeah, I don't think, I feel that being a leader, even for myself, I am a leader, but it's not necessarily about the title, it's the action. So we need more people who understand about people. We would never have a business if we didn't have people who cared about people. Just so happen to have the title of being a leader, but being an individual who actually cares and has compassion and integrity and things of that nature. We need more of those individuals. And if they happen to have the title of being a leader, then so be it. But we also know we've worked for great leaders, in between leaders, and not so great leaders. And we remember those messages and lessons, like even sitting here today, this is all a result of somebody pouring into me, a good leader, a person who cared, a person who said, you can take the reins with anything that you desire to do and not just say, no, that's what I want to do because I want to be in the front. It's okay to be in the front and for that individual to see the potential in you and to stir up that potential and to create something that's amazing, honestly.
Is it fair to also say that being number two, there's nothing wrong with that either? I'm going to support the leader. I'm going to be the one. Mm-hmm. I don't have to be the one out front. In the military, it's called the point man. You don't always have to be the point man, but he or she needs to have people around them that help make sure that whatever the task is, it gets done. Because that's the bottom line, right? We got something we need to do. Let's get there.
I don't believe in there being numbers per se. I always used to think that early in my career. I believe in supporting individuals. So say, for instance, if I was your direct report, yes, I respect what you do. I honor that. I am going to make you look good. But also, we move positions from time to time. Maybe there are things that I do relatively well, and you may say, okay, that's not my thing. That's not my subject matter expert. But if it's something that I do relatively well, we don't move out of the way where I get in front of you. I just get beside you and you say, hey, this is your thing. You go ahead and you do it. And we work in tandem with each other, just maximizing our gifts and our talents. And so it's not necessarily like I am your direct report and you are my subordinate. I am your colleague. Right? And so we work in tandem together. So I look at it a little bit different. I used to look at it like that, but it's kind of changed because being in this position and starting to grow talent, I always identify people as my colleagues, because what it does is it levels the playing field, and it lets you know that what you have to say, what you are doing, what you bring to the table, it matters.
Is it fair to say that 7, 8 years ago when you first started working for Salto, you don't have the same wisdom that you do now? So you recognize certain people that would have talent. And in HR, you're able to move folks around in the right way at the right time, because timing is obviously a critical component to that.
I feel like sometimes when you put people in certain situations before their time, what you're doing is setting that person up for failure. I feel that there are incremental steps. I feel that there is process that goes within the process of individuals, but you see the potential. It's just of crafting and creating the environment to create the foundation for them to have the readiness to do it. So an example would be, when I first started in HR, my manager told me I would be teaching new hire orientation, and I was mortified. I was like, I don't want to do that. I have a degree in journalism, broadcast news, but I never thought of utilizing it in that capacity. And what I did is I forgot and I shelved myself, and I didn't remember that I went to school for this, that I could do this, and I didn't even try it yet. And so she was like, go ahead and do it. And I was afraid and I was concerned and I was thinking like I didn't know what I was doing, but I studied and I perfected it. I put a little humor on top of it. I demystified what HR looked like, and I loved it. And if she hadn't told me to do it, and she didn't tell me to do it because she didn't want to do it, she told me to do it because she saw something in me that she wanted to get outside of me. And so I didn't think I was ready, but I had foundation to do it. And in other opportunities, when a person feels that they're not ready, all you have to do is get the experience to come in and do it, and you just get better and better at it.
I can see on the smile on your face, there's a certain time when you get the aha moment, I've got this.
Yes.
I was afraid to do this. I didn't want to do it, but I did it. And guess what? Now I'm good at it.
Yeah.
That's an aha moment. Do you get to recognize aha moments for other people as well? In HR, I'm sure you're able to see all kinds of different folks that are wanting to grow or develop or turn into something bigger and better than what they were yesterday. And you get the glory of getting them to see it as well as you as in the same manner, knowing that they can do stuff. You get to give them that pat on the back.
Wow, I feel like I want to run around this room because that's what excites me the most about being in human resources.
You can. We're not stopping you.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but
well,
if you do,
I don't want to
we
do
can't
that.
we can't
I
do
want
the
to
interview.
contain myself, but I am not only a culture curator, I am a career mastermind. I am going to
Culture curator and career mastermind.
I am
There's a
allergic
song
to
there somewhere.
average, and I am not even close to trying to do things mediocre. A lot of times in my career, I've always tried to put myself in the background because I was like, oh, I'm not ready. I don't have the skill set. I'm nervous, whatever the case may be. And I was like, yeah, I'm built for this. Like, I can do these things. And so for me, when I see talent, what I see is somebody on the potter's clay, on the wheel of just crafting, molding, sculpting, giving them opportunities. So for me, it excites me the most when I see someone coming in and they are new and they are unsure. My goal is to instill confidence in you by digging deep into yourself and pulling out what you already know that you have, and just stirring it up, putting you in the environments, making you a little bit uncomfortable, giving you the stretch assignments, and also as a leader, letting you know after the meeting, during the presentation, when I could tell that you're nervous. You got this. You did a great job. I love when you did this. Even though I saw that you were nervous, and then every time you keep getting better and better. So I expose you to like a 70-20-10 principle. I do on-the-job learning for 70%. I do the 20% for feedback, coaching, training, performance reviews, and then I do a 10% of just tooling, podcasts. Actually taking some courses, getting your degree, whatever it looks like, I'm going to make you better and better every single year.
What does Salto have coming up in the future? What are some things that also get you excited every day when you go to work?
Well, what gets me excited every day that I go to work, human resources is not for the faint of heart, but it's an exciting job because we deal with people, and it's the multifaceted individual. It's just making people better, greater,
This is
stronger.
not what I see on The Office with Toby on The Office
It's
TV
interesting.
show. You've actually got me excited about HR.
Yeah, you know what? A lot of people think HR is the Green Mile. It's not. It's not a place where you get terminated. It's not a place where you just see that person through the recruiting process. It is the growth process and the evolution of the employee life cycle. So I did want to make mention about our Salto Partner Summit, which is going to take place on March the 3rd through the 5th, 2025. This is our first event. It's going to take place at the Arizona Grand Resort Spa in Phoenix. And so I wanted to let you know that it'll be featuring some of our industry thought leaders, such as our Salto WECOSYSTEMs CEO, Mark Gomez, North American President, who I report to, Bill Wood, and Salto Sales Strategy Director, Colin Dupree. So this is going to be an event where we have it as sponsored with our business partners. It's going to be an exciting time. So if you are interested, we do offer like special discounts, but it's going to be a time of learning, growing, and getting to know more about the Salto products and services. And so we hope to see you there.
Wow. Interesting stuff. Business Radio X needs to be there for that event.
Of course.
Wow. Very impressive, Tanya. Salto Systems, they've got a heck of an HR director. Thank you so much for joining us. Tanya is the website for Salto for people that want to look into maybe the technology or find out more about the company.
Yeah, you can simply just type in Salto or Salto WECOSYSTEMs. It pops up automatically, and we have all of our values, our products and services that we're working on. And just as a reminder, our headquarters are based in Spain, San Sebastian.
So WECO I thought it was a misspelling at first. The ecosystem with the W at the beginning of it, right? And Salto is SALTO.com?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so we have our Salto WECOSYSTEM, which has the umbrella of Salto underneath the main WECOSYSTEM.
Okay.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us. Great stuff. Very good. You're getting applause from everybody around the table here. Great stuff. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Tanya Turner joining us from Salto Systems. Somebody a lot smarter than us, Harper, once said that leadership, if you don't have anybody besides you or following you, you're just going for a walk.
Yeah.
So
you're not really leading when you're by yourself,
no.
Right? There's just a bunch of air around you. Well, appreciate Tanya being here. What a positive influence that she has on everyone there at Salto. So thank you so much. And we love great people as guests being a part of the show, and love is what makes a Subaru a Subaru. You can enjoy the big savings and the hassle-free experience at Subaru of Gwinnett, where people sell cars. You can visit SubaruofGwinnett.com. You can join their family today, or you can come on in and see the difference. They're located at 2950 Satellite Boulevard in Duluth. 470-824-3860 is their sales line. You can see the Impreza, the Legacy, the Forester, the Outback. All of them are available for you at SubaruofGwinnett.com.
Harper, I'm just as excited about our next guest, Frederick Taylor. He is the founder of Tomorrow Pictures. He's also a filmmaker and a director. And Frederick, you've got to come on after that. You've got a lot to live up to now. The bar has been raised.
I mean, that is an impossible act to
Yeah.
follow. Now I know what it's like to be an act that followed James Brown or something like that, where there's just the crowds just sort of dispersed. They're leaving the theater. There's nobody left.
Yeah. You hit that first E-note, and I'm gone. I saw the show.
Exactly.
Exactly.
No, because I think people really want to hear about Tomorrow Pictures, especially in the Atlanta area where film is such a big part of the industry is big in this area. Tell us about Tomorrow Pictures and what you do.
We are a production company. We are also a media solutions company, and what I mean by that is that we come in and we solve problems for big corporate companies as far as their content is concerned, their branding is concerned, their image is concerned, and what issues they may have with media, which is something that goes through all companies now. And we have so many incredible, interesting people and stories within these companies that need to be told in order for the brand to continue to be sustainable. The problem is that a lot of the people that work in those spaces, they don't have the acuity for media. So they need help. They have ideas, and many times they have great ideas, but they've got to put them into practice. It's the same way in sports. You might have a really great team with some really great players on it, but if you don't have the right coach, the team will have a tendency to flounder. as well. So we are that coach, essentially.
Or if nobody knows when they're playing, you get to help bring out that story. I'm going to use that word a lot because you tell stories. You tell stories a little bit better than what Mike and I might tell the story, or how to do it and how to envision it. So I imagine there's all kinds of things that go into your mind in order for you to finalize and have a finished piece of celluloid or film, if you will.
Right.
Tell us how you got involved, because I know there are a lot of people, hey, I'd love to be in the movie business, be in the movies, or but you're doing it. How did it start for you?
Well, it's really crazy. Well, first of all, as a company, the story is in the telling as well, and the life is in the living too. So you kind of have to get out there and figure it out. And like my friend here, I started in broadcast journalism as well at Temple University. And then from there, halfway through that particular cycle, I pivoted into film, specifically documentary film. At that time, I found a very strong draw into that space of being able to tell story. And to
redefine real quick, at Temple, what did you go there to try to learn to do? And then when did you find that aha moment for you to where you go, I found something that's a little bit different, and there's your passion, right?
Broadcast journalism. I wanted to be a writer. I wanted to be a sports writer.
Okay.
And I wanted to be the kind of guy that ran around with the hat on, little press thing on the side.
You want to cover the Sixers and the Flyers and the Eagles.
And all that stuff, exactly. And I was playing D1 baseball as well at
so
that
the
particular
Phillies,
time.
obviously the Phillies.
Yeah, so I was doing that thing, and then halfway through, I discovered the amount of time it takes to be an athlete was not congruent with what the amount of time it takes to be an academic person as well.
How about that?
And I made one of the toughest choices in my life at that particular time.
Okay.
And I pivoted. And at that time, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I was kind of still in the broadcast journalism program, but I was now not playing baseball, and I was figuring it out. And I had an advisor, and my advisor said, hey, why don't you take an elective course, and it's a film criticism course. So I took a film criticism course, and it was basically just critiquing films. The only reason I took it
Who
was
can't do that, right?
Well, yeah, and I remember Siskel and Ebert, and I thought this looks cool, so I'll try that. And I was really, really good at it. And my teacher said, "Wow, you are the biggest A student I've ever had. You seem to have a very high level of acuity for this." And he said, "Well, why don't you go take a film class, take an editing class?"
What were some of the things in the critique class that you were able to? Is it that the spoon was in the drink in one take, and then they go to another, and the spoon's not there, or was it I see the way they're making this film? There's a hole in it somewhere, or in the plot, or all of it. Describe how that helped you.
All of the above, but in also the bigger picture. One of the first films that I ever critiqued was the original Mel Gibson Mad Max movie.
Okay.
And it's an apocalyptic movie about the end of the world and what people are doing, and they're sort of hurting each other for gasoline, essentially, to survive. And I just had a take on it that really spoke to people about the sort of inner drives of individuals under duress as well. And that sometimes in these stressful situations, the worst of us can come out. But also in these stressful situations, the best of us can come out. And once again, to throw it back to my friend earlier, leadership. And that's what the Mel Gibson character was. He was the voice of reason. He was the leader. He had an empathetic side. He was equitable as well. And that came out of tragedy because his wife and his child had been killed by a gang of people that were stealing gasoline from all of these other people that were desperate to survive as well. And in spite of losing his family in a survivalist environment, he still cared about other people. And I found that to be extraordinarily profound. And I felt that those are the types of films that we need to make more of. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't make films about things that are bad or violent or whatever, but I think that we need to have a lot more positive outcome with these types of films and things like that, where people are shown a path. And that path leads to some level of light, because ultimately darkness isn't going to do anybody any good. And so there's a power in filmmaking that I started to gravitate towards, and my teacher really got excited about me doing that and continuing.
You were able to discover the story and the different layers and the suspense
completely,
and waiting a little bit longer
yes,
before you actually reveal it, and there's your movie. Wow.
Exactly. And I think that's where movies live. And that's where that sort of transitional mode of movies are, where then, okay, it doesn't matter what your culture is. It doesn't matter what your gender is. It doesn't matter what your socioeconomic standing is or what country you come from or whatever. You're just moved. And we've all seen films from all over the world at times that we are just moved.
Yep.
Or we've seen films that are independent films that are made on a shoestring budget, and we're moved. And then sometimes we see big movies where we're moved as well. Like, one of the greatest scenes I've ever seen in my life was the first Rocky. It's Sylvester Stallone. He's an unknown. He's just a big palooka living in New York. And there's this scene where he just puts his head in the lap of Talia Shire, and he says, I just want to be someone that people take seriously.
I don't want to be a bum on
I
the
don't want to
street.
be a bum on the street. I just want to be somebody. And it's just this, it's one shot. The whole thing it doesn't cut away. It's literally Stallone acting, which is something he's gotten away from in the years since. But at that particular time, he really focused on being an actor, and he really convinced you that he just wants to go the distance with Apollo Creed. He's not even trying. The win for him is to stay on his feet.
I don't know about you, Harper, but I really want to watch a film right now with Frederick. I really do, because that's amazing.
Well, we're going to have to hit the pause button, a
Yeah.
few times, because he's going to stop and break it down a little bit further. But that passion led to the business, right? And
Completely.
How does anybody start? Well, I'm going to make movies. I need a camera. I need lights. I need cameras. I need electricity. I need all this stuff. When did that become a part of your quest here in being able to organize all of the stuff that everyone else does,
Right.
But you were new to it?
Right. I have a wonderful family. I have two parents that sort of understand the passion that a young person can have. And I went from asking my dad for, baseballs and mitts and bats and spikes to, can I have a camera? Can I have this mic? My ask changed radically.
Mm-hmm.
My father's like, what are you talking about? We're going to have to get you a camera now? Why are you doing a camera thing? And
That'll never work, son.
That'll never work, son.
Yeah.
Even my girlfriend at the particular time was just like, "You're
What are you
crazy. What are you
thinking?
thinking?
You're
What
out
are
of
you
your
doing?"
gourd.
But I knew it was something inside of me that I wanted to do. It was just a drive. It was just a particular passion. And you don't need a lot. You just need a lot of passion and potential. And then once again, like my friend had said earlier, is that you need some people behind you that believe in you, that really see the future for you as well. I think that is critical mass. And that's one of the things that people miss sometimes about our culture and our society. We've become a little bit too individualistic, and we're not spending enough time with each other. And the reason that I'm sitting here, like my friend as well, is because somebody believed in me. And that's how I got started. And I just started, I would just enlist my friends to be in my films and stuff like that. And I would go out and I would just start telling stories about things. And I enjoyed telling stories about things that were outside of the box. I just very quickly was orienting myself to being someone that was a little bit more radicalized or sort of revolutionary with the stories that I wanted to tell as well, because I really just believe wholeheartedly in an equitable society as well.
I can tell this story,
yeah.
and we don't run out of stories. Everybody's got one or two
Always,
that they can always
to the end of time.
And for your-
And is this why
Yes.
you're in Atlanta now? Because obviously Atlanta is
Yes.
huge in the film industry.
Well, that's why I ended up coming here, because of the wave of art, culture, music that had happened in the 1990s that exploded here. And my father is a musician. He's retired now. But one of the things he had always said, where the music business goes, the film and television business will soon to follow. And that is exactly what had happened here as well. So I kind of got in on the ground floor. So I was hanging around with just a few people like TLC and Outkast and all those name dropper. But yeah, but right place, right time,
Yeah.
the right mentoring. You're put into a position to win. And that helped me to build a business as well. That then from there, moved on into spaces like working for Coca-Cola, and Coca-Cola would hire me and say like, hey, we want to do a video that's showing all of these different kids from different backgrounds and different socioeconomic areas, all enjoying Coca-Cola, but everybody at Coca-Cola was scared to do it. And I was like, that's old hat. I know that. That's nothing to me. That's the world that I live in, and I can translate the world that I come from and what I live in into a sort of business acumen for people that want to be in that space, but they don't know how to be in that space because they don't have the history behind them to do it. And so I closed that gap for them, and that's how I turned into a media solutions company. And now we do it for Atlanta Children's Hospital, or Children's Hospital of Atlanta, and also Rotary International. We have a client out of Italy called Davinis, and they do hair products high-end hair products for women as well. So that sensibility just keeps going and going and going.
I imagine your relationship with people Coca-Cola says, I want to develop a relationship with the kids from different backgrounds that we want to drink the product. Yeah, I can do that.
So you're working with these companies, Frederick, and you're telling those stories.
Right.
But I'm sure there's still that desire within you to make up your own stories and to create stories as well. So you're doing a little bit of all of this right now.
Yes, I'm juggling, and it makes me crazy.
Ultimately, where would you like to be? Do you want to be the next Martin Scorsese? Or
yes.
Where do you, okay.
That's
what you want to be.
Into it.
Mike,
Absolutely.
he wants to be the next Frederick Taylor, for crying out loud.
No, he wants to be the first Frederick Taylor.
Right.
But
is inspired by a lot of these other great filmmakers that we have known and seen in the past as well. And it's an amalgamation of all of these things. It's Martin Scorsese, it's Alfred Hitchcock, it's Spike Lee. It's all of these things sort of brought together. It's Ava DuVernay. I mean, it's all of these pieces, part and parcel, and not always necessarily filmmakers. One of the people that has really inspired me my whole life is Maya Angelou. As well, James Baldwin is another one as well. Jimmy Carter. Like, Jimmy Carter was one of the people that gave me one of my first jobs. You know, I'm like a kid. I'm 19 years old, and I've got to go over to the Carter Center and shoot an interview with him and Rosalind. And of course, I'm nervous and scared.
Yeah.
But they both made me feel comfortable in that space. And once again, an example of how leadership takes over and guides the young hand of someone who has a tremendous amount of potential.
Was that one of many I got this moments where I can do this?
Yes.
And you build on that.
Yes.
And then I'm going to help other people
Absolutely.
do that. So that, the actor who's afraid, or I was just listening to Al Pacino in The Godfather, was asked in the wedding to dance with his wife. He didn't know, I don't know how to dance. Well, just go over I don't know how to draw. There were so many things he didn't know how to do, but Scorsese and everybody that is a part of making people at ease so the story can be told where it's believable.
Absolutely.
And you have had many of those aha moments for yourself to where you go, I do this, so now I can help others do this, and guess what? It's going to look great on film.
Right. And to give you an example very quickly, there's a film that's on Amazon.com. It is called Counter History's Rock Hill. It's a film that I've made. It's an award-winning film. It's been on PBS, all this other stuff, blah, blah, blah. But it was about counter sit-ins in the early 1960s in the Deep South. Where there were places and businesses where people were not allowed to come in and be served, which to us now is ridiculous. Imagine walking into McDonald's and someone says, "Get out of here."
Yeah,
it's inconceivable.
But it was life.
But it was like exactly,
or late 60s.
Yes,
it
exactly.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't. But and that's very upsetting. It's very challenging. It's very traumatic. And so I was tasked with documenting this and trying to document this in a way where people aren't going to turn away from the screen, or they're not going to pay attention to this, or they're not going to see value in this, because there's value in this for everybody. And everybody's life reflects into everyone else's. And that sometimes is a very difficult story to get across when people think that we're all sort of siloed into these certain places and we only get together for certain things like really cool music or sports. Yeah. But there's so much more that we have in common as well. So the deal was, in the scene, they have to walk into the diner together, a group of young men, and sit down. And I had to figure out a way to do it in a way that would engage people. So I was directing and telling them what to do. So they're outside of the diner, going to walk in. I said, when you guys walk into the diner, walk in and imagine yourself, you're in a choir in a church. Walk in the way a choir walks into the church and comes in and sits down next to the pastor. Do it that way, rather than just doing it the normal, regular way that people walk into a diner.
Very formal, right?
Formal.
Scripted almost.
Exactly. And then I shot it in slow motion. And then suddenly here, you can just feel the energy moving into the scene. Yeah. And you can't turn away. You have to pay attention. You see the character and the distinguished characteristics of these individuals that just want to come in and sit down at a counter. And then you get it.
I imagine your ability to get to that line, maybe cross it a little bit, but then bring it back or whatever. You
play with it.
You're doing your job when you create the emotion.
Completely.
Whatever it is.
Yes.
Happy, glad, sad, mad, right? I learned that very early in my life. You got to touch one of those, and you do that. That's part of what the story is about.
Completely.
Wow. Awesome.
Our guest is filmmaker and director Frederick Taylor. He's also the founder of Tomorrow Pictures. Just amazing stuff. In the last few minutes we have, great time, I would think, to be a filmmaker and a producer, because you mentioned your work that's on Amazon Prime.
Yes.
Netflix. In the old days, you had to be at the theater down the street, and that was the only place your stuff could show. And now with all the streaming services, it's a great time to be in your industry, isn't it?
It is unbelievable, and I just wish more and more people understood that. And it's a great time that we were once here before when it came to music with the explosion of radio in the late 1950s and early 1960s, and that type
AM
of
Gold,
AM
Gold,
dude,
Frederick.
I'm telling you, that's what made Motown. And that's what got Barry and Smokey to say, we're going to go out and break out on our own. We're going to do our own thing. We're going to make our own music, and we're going to change the world. And Motown Records was the #1 record label of the 1960s, bar none.
Oh, yeah.
They sold more records than anybody. And yeah, the Beatles were the #1 group in the 1960s, but 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 were all Motown acts.
Yeah, there were 10 other great bands in Motown that people wanted to listen to as well.
And they have made music that is timeless, that people will listen to until the end of days. Like, that is the world that I want to be in, and I think that it is very possible to do that. So my point to anybody that wants to make films now, absolutely, there's plenty of room at the top for people that have a real passion for telling real stories about real things. But if you're going to make just marginalized stuff, you may be here today and gone tomorrow.
Could be. I would imagine technology, because you see commercials
Sure.
say, hey, look what everybody does on their phone now.
Right.
Even the commercials are supposedly shot with a specific type of phone where they can do that. Now,
Everybody's a filmmacker now.
You can be. You have at least the option
But
to
not
find
everyone's
out.
a good
When we were all in
that-
school, maybe me more than you guys, because I'm probably a little bit older, so I don't know where we
You
are.
look good for your age, though.
Thank you very much. Back then, I mean, it was just TV and TV and movies.
We didn't even have disposable cameras when we first started.
Now you have
the
YouTube-
Kodak
YouTube
cameras
stars making
we had
millions
the
of
little,
dollars.
what were those little booths that they had that were on street corners where you could go take your roll of film?
Yeah, Kodak.
But what was that little booth called? Kodak something, a little center where you take it, and an hour later you get your film back. Now, Super 8 and 16 mil and all this other stuff.
4K, 8K.
All this, that's all out of that's dinosaur. There's a movie right there about how the technology has changed.
Sure.
With 3, 4, 5G stuff and the clarity.
Sure.
All of that is a part of your world now.
Yeah.
And when you got started,
Right.
is there room for more?
Yes.
Okay.
As vast.
Have you not
as
been
the
listening to what he's
No,
saying?
I'm just
interstellar
saying-
universe is. We're in a universe that is constantly expanding every day. So the opportunity for truth is always expanding. The lies are contracting, and you have to decide whether you want to live in that little tiny space of all of this misleading stuff, or you're going to be in this world that is ever expanding and enlightening as well. So there's always room for us as people to
That's what I'm
express
thinking.
ourselves.
Is you get MGM or Paramount or Lighthouse Pictures, you all see these huge logos,
Right.
but basically they're the ones that are controlling. But you're saying that if you just get started, make a great movie, it can be done as well.
Easily.
There's-
Without
there's a
question, but
room-
you've got to come up with something that's a great idea. The Get Out was made for $3.5 million. It grossed over $257 million domestically.
That's another thing. Talk about
Yes.
the money aspect of it from a small production perspective. You're always needing funding.
Completely.
Correct? Yeah.
But it's a direct correlation between the need for funding and the need for telling a real story or something that's meaningful. It's like the movie Barbie made $1 gazillion because it appealed to something deep inside of women that has been there for generations, that finally, through a film, was allowed to come out. And Barbie is a rite of passage brand that goes through every woman. But everybody's got a Barbie story.
His
as a girl.
critiquing right now, he's breaking that movie down much differently than I would.
There's actually a Barbie night coming up here at the Gas South Theater where they're actually going to have a
Case
Barbie
in
play.
point, absolutely.
So, Frederick, is it
Yes,
fair
sir.
to say, make a good story,
Yes.
put it on film,
Right.
someone will see
Right.
it and go, now make me another one.
Yeah.
And they'll give you $10, and then now you've got a little.
Exactly.
And then make another better one than so it correlates to music too.
Absolutely.
They're always say, "Hey, give me another
Exactly.
song."
Everybody wants a new Rolling Stones album. They're still digging through crates trying to find an old Beatles track. Reportedly, someone just found some old Michael Jackson tracks. I mean, it's endless. I mean, people always want something new that's inventful, that's insightful, that's going to move the needle with our existence as human beings. And they don't care where it comes from or who does it, just would please somebody do it.
Is it good?
Is
it worth
good?
listening to?
Absolutely.
What's also endless is
Yes.
the conversation we could have with you, because this is fun stuff. We could go on forever. but we do need to kind of wrap it up.
Do you need people to help you out, and how would they get in touch with you?
Well, they can come to Tomorrow Pictures, and that's tomorrowpictures.com. And they can also go take a look at some of the things that we stream, which is tomorrowpictures.tv as well. And if you want to get really crazy, you can just Google me at FR, the number 3DER, the number 1CK, and you will get everything about me. And that particular moniker is on all of my social media, whether you're talking about Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all of that other stuff as well. And one of the things you'll notice is that my business world leaks into my art world, and they kind of meet in the middle. So my stuff's kind of funky as well. So my arty-farty friends get mad at me because they feel like I'm too businessy, and my businessy friends think I'm too arty-farty. But, you know, they're all there.
You're the Bob Dylan when he switched and just
exactly.
I want to play an electric
I'm playing
guitar.
exactly.
Oh, I don't want anything to do with you.
Right. And so
those friends, well, you know, they'll learn.
They'll be all right in the end, but I'm going to keep being me, doing me. So that's where I'm
keep
at.
doing you. Frederick Taylor with Tomorrow Pictures. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you very much.
This is awesome. Thank you, guys. I really
great.
appreciate this.
Pretty good, huh, Harper?
I learned a lot today.
It's been fun. Two wonderful guests. I want to thank Frederick Taylor with Tomorrow Pictures and Tanya Turner with Salto Systems for just some two great conversations today.
They knew what they were doing. Good thing I try to do.
And at least three of us have broadcast journalism degrees in this room.
Yep. You guys are awesome.
Actually, four. I'm sorry. There's at least four.
Do you have a broadcast degree? No, she won't even talk to you.
Dan Braverman, our producer. So you're the odd person out.
I am the odd man out.
Harper, we'll do it. Let's do it again next time. Maybe Stephen will be here.
We don't know. Maybe he will draw the short straw like I did today.
Thank you again to our wonderful, wonderful guest, to Dan, for producing the show. For Stephen, for Harper, for our whole crew here, Mike Salmon saying so long. We'll see you next time here on Gwinnett Business Radio.